ABC on Tuesday night to come up a great game. But also, they beat Western Kentucky last Saturday very impressively by 25 points. Key game tonight, John. Miami's very good, number one, but number two, a win tonight could put the Musketeers in the top 25. They're really going to have to avoid a letdown. Their opponent, the Miami Redskins, win out.
Back to the Cincinnati Gardens where Xavier and Miami are getting ready to tip off. A lot of talk about Xavier defeating the number one team in the country last Tuesday, UC. But did you know when they did that, they became the fifth straight Atlantic 10 team to knock off the top-ranked team in the country. Last season, Temple defeated Kansas when they were number one. Before that, UMass recorded upsets over Kentucky, Arkansas, and North Carolina in preseason tournaments the last 3 seasons. And this stat does not include games when George Washington beat UMass or vice versa. We don't count those because obviously someone had to lose in those. Just an interesting tidbit we have to share with you. John, Gary, back to you guys.
Well, Dee, thank you for that tidbit. Good evening once again, everybody. John Popovich along with Gary Massa on ABC 9 as the Musketeers and the Miami Redskins come to the center of the court at the Cincinnati Gardens, ready to tip it off. There is Skip Prosser getting a pregame drink as his Musketeers start off this season at 2-0. Teray Braggs against Ira Newble at center court, tipping it up. And Braggs gets the tip off to Lenny Brown and the Musketeers first on the offense. Back outside to Gary Lumpkin, picked up there by Mestis, over to T.J. Johnson on the wing, top of the key to Braggs, and he fires into the corner. And now it comes back out to Braggs. Braggs a couple of dribbles, Newble takes the ball away from him. Here comes Mestis. Mestis to the lane, shovels it back outside. Over to Devin Davis, and a foul called on number 22, Jermaine Henderson, as he went to make that pass.
Tuesday. Redskins are going to want to take them out early.
Goes out of bounds. Mestis to trigger it in for the Redskins. Gets it into Davis. The Musketeers with the full court pressure, but Davis gets away. Up court to Henderson. Back to Mestis. Fans thought he took a extra step there. Henderson inside to Damon Frierson off the glass, and the Redskins are on the board first.
Executed half-court offense very well.
Braggs, 15-footer. He has nothing but net. And Lenny Brown is called for a foul as Mestis was turning the corner and trying to get across the line.
John, you could see the Musketeers want to establish up-tempo, very quick, pressing-type game right from the get-go. So far, Miami's handled the pressure in a great way.
Mestis walking it up over to Henderson. He's picked up by Darnell Williams. Now top of the key to Frierson over to Mestis. Mestis trying to find Devin Davis inside. Newble takes the shot, and a foul is called underneath as Davis and T.J. Johnson went after that ball, and that foul is on T.J.
T.J. knew it right away. Watch. The ball goes up, passes to Newble at the free throw stripe. Watch T.J. push.
Second foul on the Musketeers as the ball goes into Frierson. To Henderson, over to Mestis. Mestis, they swing it around to Davis. He's picked up by T.J. and he hits a three. Well, that makes him even more dangerous when a big guy could do that.
Devin Davis can do it all. Going to have to get out on the perimeter and guard.
Braggs outside, tries to equal the feat, can't do it. Davis comes down with the rebound. Miami up 5-2. Frierson, the fake around Williams, goes in off the glass and hits. Damon Frierson, good-looking sophomore.
Got a lot of skills.
Williams comes down on the run, too hard off the glass, and Miami comes away with it. Frierson, Williams tried to pick his pocket, couldn't do it, and Williams comes down with the rebound. Now in a crowd, slows it down. Braggs on the side, tried the baseline, and stop, but a foul is called.
I can tell you right now that Xavier does not want to play a half-court grinded out type of game, and Miami would prefer to do that. You could see the Musketeers getting down the floor, trying to get the ball inside early and not get into a half-court game. Rather play an up-tempo, run-and-gun type game.
Foul is on Mestis, and it sends Torrey Braggs to the line. Braggs, who hit some big free throws against the UC Bearcats, as the Musketeers shot pretty well from the line.
Leads the Musketeers from the field, almost 86%. What a great addition. You can see the arm strength. Torrey Braggs, great addition to the Musketeers front line.
Hits both of them, gets the Musketeers back to within 3. 17-36 in this first half.
John, I was going to say the most important part about hitting that free throw is that they could get into that pressure defense, but Miami's handled it very well.
Now it's Braggs and Devin Davis going at each other, as you see him on the upper right side of your screen. Henderson backs it out back to Frierson. They try to set something up. Frierson tries again. Newble with the rebound. He went up strong.
Newble had 10 rebounds against Virginia Commonwealth. Musketeer coaching staff very concerned about his agility inside.
9-4 Redskins in the early going. There's Braggs outside. He's taken a couple of outside shots. That's not exactly where they want him to operate. Lenny Brown. Inside, and there he is. Nice pass off by Lenny Brown into Torrey Braggs. As Mestis has a hard time getting it up this time, but he gets it across to Davis. Devin seems to just be shooing guys away right now. Throws into Henderson in the corner. Not before he had traveled with the ball.
Miami, Coach Coles likes to play a lot of sets, a lot of half-court offense. However, when Devin Davis gets involved, he's got the freedom as a fourth-year senior player, veteran player, and the best player on the team on offense to do pretty much what he wants to do.
Here's Brown backing it up into the corner. Darnell Williams. Williams picked up by Frierson outside to Braggs. Braggs lobs into Brown. TJ came down with it, and as he tried to turn the corner inside, he's fouled by either Frierson or Davis.
John, we saw Braggs shoot 2 shots in the offense from the free throw line. Really, Miami's backing off. You can see him packing in against TJ Johnson, and yet the Musketeers want to drive it inside.
That is the first personal foul on Damon Frierson. The Redskins very concerned about having a big player like Devin Davis commit any fouls, because that is the one place on the court they're strong on the guard spots and they're deep there, but once they get to the big guys like Newble and Davis, there's not a great deal of support there. Musketeers call a timeout here at the Cincinnati Gardens. 9-6, Miami has the lead. Welcome back to the Gardens, everyone. 9-6 Miami, leading 15:54 to go in the first half here, as Lumpkin inbounding over to Lenny Brown. Brown takes it from there and hits. Musketeers still the inbounds inside the Braggs, and the Musketeers take the lead for the first time tonight. Pressure bothering the Redskins for the first time, and Brown almost swiped it again. Davis brings it over for the Redskins. And they do steal this one. Braggs now picks it up ahead to Lumpkin. Redskins back very well. Little stutter step, and he goes in, and a foul is called, and Gary Lumpkin goes to the line.
John, that's what we're talking about. That is exactly what we're talking about with the furious pressure that the Musketeers like to play. 3 in a row. They make it like it's part of their offense, create offensive opportunities out of the defense, and that's what they've finally been able to do. Ira Newble sits down for the Redskins. Wally Zerbiak into the game for the first time tonight. 12-9. Xavier has taken the lead. 15-18 to go in the first half. Here's Frierson ahead, and a charging foul is called as Lenny Brown goes sprawling over by the Musketeers bench. Would you say that the players and the coaches like that effort by Lenny Brown? Watch him move his feet. Every coach loves to see defense like that. Look at Skip go crazy, and rightly so. That's the 5th turnover the Musketeers have caused, and Musketeers are on an 8-0 run.
Also got the fans into the game. That's something you mentioned early that the Musketeers had to do. They own a 12-9 lead. Here's Lumpkin being covered by Mestis as he reverses his course. Johnson picked up by Zerbiak. Over to Darnell Williams. Darnell tries the right side, goes up off the glass, too hard. Rebound, Devin Davis, taken away by Darnell Williams. Brown inside, dishes off. TJ from the side, can't get it. Rebound, Zerbiak. Wally Zerbiak doing a good job going up in that crowd. TJ intercepts a pass destined for Davis. Here comes Brown. Brown into the middle. Goes up on his own and hits.
Lenny Brown has all the tools.
And the Miami Redskins want a timeout. As Charlie Cole says, let's slow things down. Let's get under control.
The Redskins came back in a zone last possession in order to try to slow the Musketeers down. Got the ball up here, pulled it back to get into their half-court offense, and then the Musketeers made a great defensive steal, and not content just to take it. There's the pass. Look at the great work by T.J. Johnson. He's not content. He wants to get out. The big guy wants to run. And then Lenny Brown, what a great offensive move. Of course, Lenny's the guy that made the winning bucket against the Bearcats on Tuesday night.
Statistician Mike McCall tells us last 2.5 minutes, Xavier has gone on a 10-0 run. And defense has played a big part in that, Gary. Miami has now turned the ball over 7 times. Xavier only once. As we're back on the court, ready to go. 14:25 to go in the first half. Xavier up 14-9. Full court pressure continues, and they take it away again. But Miami takes it right back, as Henderson had good hands, and he took it away from James Posey, who's just reported in for the Musketeers. T.J. Johnson has sat down for a bit. Henderson to Zerbiak in the corner. Outside to Henderson. He's bumped around to Mestis. He throws it up and hits a 3, and a push underneath as well.
Looks like Posey's going to be called, John. Musketeers really working hard on defense, despite the 3 that was made from the outside. Actually going to call Torrey Braggs. Big break for the Redskins. They get the ball back.
Only trailed by 2, and Mestis ready to put it in. Stolen by the Musketeers, Darnell Williams, and he's been in front of a few of those passes already. Lumpkin fakes inside, goes into Braggs. Braggs a couple of dribbles, turns on Davis, hits!
Big time play. Torrey Braggs, the junior college transfer out of San Jose City College.
And they steal it away again. Brown gets this one to Lumpkin. Lumpkin tries long range, and it's a 3!
Gary Lumpkin's a leader. He's a quarterback, but he's going to take the shot if it's there.
19-12, biggest lead for the Musketeers at 7, and a foul called on the Musketeers, James Posey.
John, nothing gets a team fired up like great pressure, frenzied defense. The coach is fired up. You know Skip Prosser loves this. Their game plan was to go right after Miami's guards from the very beginning. Didn't feel like they handled the ball real well.
Right now, the Redskins operating with a smaller lineup, bringing Kenneth Bozeman into the game, and Davis almost throws it away. Bozeman catches up with it. Bozeman covered by Williams, tries the middle, tries to pass into the corner, gets to Henderson, and he hits a 3. So Miami can recover quickly, the pass down, and Davis picks it off. Looking for Darnell Williams, and Devin Davis got a line on that one. There's Mestis back outside to Davis, picked up quickly by Williams.
You just see Davis all over the floor, don't you?
Bozeman long range. Off the back of the rim, knocked around. Bozeman comes up with it, and the Redskins playing really hard in there. Here's Davis. He hits it.
That's 3 offensive rebounds in a row. The Musketeers trying to hold their opponents as a goal under 10 for the game.
Redskins take it away. Zerbiak to Henderson. Too hard. Bozeman to follow.
Another offensive rebound. 4 offensive rebounds in a row for the Redskins.
Just like that, they come back and tie this game up at 19 with 12:09 in the first half.
Tell you, the Redskins are aggressive on the boards.
8 second chance points already for Miami in this game. Most of those have come along this little run they put together after Xavier went up 19-12.
And John, we talk about the Musketeers' great defense. They go after it. They feature it in their practices every day. Skip Prosser will tell you, you can play great defense, but you can't let them have second shots. The second shots will kill you.
TJ Johnson back into the ball game for the Musketeers. Anthony Taylor makes his first appearance now for the Redskins. Ira Newble also comes back in for Miami. Sherwin Anderson also his first minutes for the Musketeers. Played well against UC. Lumpkin outside nails a 3.
So important for Lumpkin to hit the 3 because it opens up the middle for Posey, Braggs, and TJ Johnson to operate.
This is Bozeman working against Lumpkin, and Lumpkin gets hit with the foul.
Working hard, a little bit too much hands.
We're going to take a timeout here at the Cincinnati Gardens. Xavier ahead of Miami, 22-19, 11:47 to go in the first half. Zerbiak outside. He hits a 3.
Well, he's a great shooter. He can shoot it from all over the court. Hurt the Musketeers last year.
Musketeers hung with the Redskins pretty well in the first half. It was only a couple of point game, and then Miami came out in the second half and ran off 10 straight points, and that's all she wrote for the Musketeers.
Always been a great rivalry. The Musketeers have won 4 of the last 5.
Posey inside. Off the glass, no good. Anthony Taylor grabbed the rebound for Miami. This game's tied at 22, hitting the 11-minute mark. Zerbiak along the baseline. He pulls up and hits. Zerbiak with 2 straight baskets.
Really a solid shooter. Very smooth. Been able to put the ball on the floor this year.
Williams looking inside. Now back to the foul line to Brown. Lenny backs it out, but a whistle underneath as Zerbiak and Posey were tangled up. And Zerbiak is called for the foul. Charlie Coles in only his second game as Miami's head coach. Started off with that good win against Virginia Commonwealth. He had been an assistant to Herb Sendek.
Very interesting how the Miami Redskins administration looked at that. I believe they saw Joby Wright come in and kind of use the Redskins as a stepping stone. And, of course, Herb Sendek now at North Carolina State. I think they wanted some stability. And I think Charlie Coles was a part of the campus for a long time over at Miami. Successful coach up at Central Michigan. Dan Marley played for him. They won a MAC championship with him, and they decided to go with the 54-year-old Charlie Coles. And the Miami Redskins players seemed to really like him. As a couple of the players were going to transfer until they heard that Charlie Coles was going to get the job, and they decided to stay. And he's got the Redskins playing in a great way early on.
I know when Herb Sendek left, we went up there to do a story, and those players, I saw Ira Newble, they were definitely lobbying for Charlie Coles to stay as the head coach. Couple of changes as we on the floor. Bozeman back in and Ira Newble back into the lineup. For the Musketeers, it's Lenny Brown and Braggs, Darnell Williams, Sherwin Anderson, and TJ Johnson as Davis hurries it down. Hands off to Newble, and Newble goes in strong.
You just have to be impressed with David Davis. Led the break that time down as a center.
Miami back with a 2-point lead, and as Brown made his move through the middle, got caught up a little bit and traveled with the ball. Davis helping out on the press now. Gets the ball over to Mestis. Mestis bringing it up against Braggs and Brown. Gets it over to Davis. Davis has been effective in breaking the press. Back outside to Mestis. Miami owning a 2-point lead in this game. The lob into Newble. Newble turning on TJ and does it well.
Good pass in. Good lob pass. Newble had great position.
Brown looking in the corner. He'll take it, and he'll hit it.
That's something you didn't see Lenny Brown do a lot of last year. He knew he had to work on his outside game. 4 of 8 from three-point line against the Bearcats.
Zerbiak, the fake, puts it up. He's too hard, and it's batted out, and Teray Braggs had it, and now everybody runs over Mestis, and the charge to try to get to the ball.
I wonder if Mr. Mestis will try that again.
Felt like a quarterback being sandwiched there as Brown and Braggs came from him from both sides, and the Redskins will hold on to the ball. Let's take a look at the slam can from just moments ago. Newble working against TJ Johnson and putting it up. Miami owns as a result a 29-26 lead over the Musketeers. 9:40 in the first half. Davis outside, guarded by TJ. Ball gets away. He and Lumpkin go after it. Davis gets it back. No over and back. The crowd wanted it. Fired up there by Mestis, but off the mark. Anderson's pass knocked away by Mestis. Mestis swats it back right to the Musketeers. Over to Lumpkin from the wing. Tries a three and hits his third of the game.
Right from the same spot, John.
We're tied again. We've been tied at 19-22, and now we're tied at 29. Mestis to Zerbiak. Fake, gets loose, hits.
Boy, he's really improved, been able to put that ball on the floor this year instead of just a standstill shooter. He's going to be dangerous.
Miami back up. This is Braggs. Braggs from outside. He's short, and the ball out of bounds. It'll be the Redskins' ball. James Posey ready to come back in for the Musketeers, and we have a timeout here at the Cincinnati Garden. Skip Prosser gets his guys around, and Miami gets his Redskins surrounding him. And there you see, we've already had 3 lead changes and a couple of ties. And Gary, you know, I had to think back after that game against UC. We thought about the last time in '94 when the Musketeers beat UC. Then they came back and just had a disastrous game against Evansville that we did.
We did that game on TV, John, and we talked about, I asked the coaches what they thought about a letdown, and of course they wanted to avoid that, but it's almost natural. Their response to me was that they had an optional film session on Wednesday after the game. Optional being the key word. Every member of the Musketeers showed up for that film session on the Miami Redskins Virginia Commonwealth game. They went out and shot around, and that usually tells you that the team really wants to make something of themselves this year. The other thing is that they owe the Redskins from last year. They remember that loss.
Mestis hurrying it up and gets it to Zerbiak, and you saw in that graphic some great three-point shooting going on in this game. In fact, only 1 3-point shot missed so far tonight. Davis long range. That's 2 missed tonight as Sherwin Anderson picks up the loose ball, fires it up to Braggs, and he can't hold on. Now he tries to turn it, and he hits over Newble.
A great pass by Sherwin Anderson. Braggs couldn't reel it in, but good composure, good poise to pull it in together. They're going to call over and back on the Redskins, but Braggs with a great play to get under control and get the ball in the basket.
Xavier with a 1-point lead at 31-30. We have a timeout at the Gardens. We'll be back right after this.
Like I said, bobbled a little bit, but had the composure to get himself back into position and finish.
Braggs already with 12 points. Lumpkin with 11 points, and that reminds us to stay tuned at the end of tonight's game when we'll be selecting the Budweiser Star of the Game. Teray Braggs with some pretty good action here, but we're seeing a good game on both sides of the floor. And some pretty good shooting, huh, Gare?
Great shooting. Musketeers 63% from the field, 12 of 19, and helped, of course, by Gary Lumpkin, 3 for 3 from three-point range. And the Redskins are doing a good job from the field as well. 13 of 23, 56%.
Redskins come back onto the floor with Mestis, Henderson, Devin Davis, Ira Newble, and Wally Zerbiak. The Musketeers come out with Sherwin Anderson, TJ Johnson, Gary Lumpkin, Torrey Braggs, and frankly, I can't see. And James Posey is back out there. Lumpkin has the ball knocked away. Mestis quick hands. Back outside to Lumpkin. T.J. Johnson. Musketeers up by 1, 7:40. Braggs tried to go inside, and he gets Lumpkin, and Lumpkin goes to the hoop.
Lumpkin showing some diversity there. Posting up, down low. Has a little bit of a mismatch. Jermaine Henderson. And a good power play up. He's excited.
Sherwin Anderson comes out. Lenny Brown comes back in. Right now, Xavier guards are perfect from the field. Brown 3 for 3. Lumpkin has hit 5 for 5, and Gary heads to the foul line.
Boy, he had a great game against UC. Logged 35 minutes in a leadership role, a point guard role. He's really come on from an experience standpoint from last year.
Musketeers up by 4. Best lead of the game for them has been 7. Davis spins away from a defender to Zerbiak. Zerbiak the fake. He's hit every one of these so far, and he keeps doing that.
Great composure, great ball fake. We've seen him put the ball on the floor and ball fake. It's 2 great things a shooter needs to have to get some time to shoot it.
Braggs over to Lumpkin. Lumpkin looking for TJ coming through. He was covered. Back out to Posey. Posey is short. Ira Newble fires it out to Zerbiak. Zerbiak covered by Lumpkin, and he takes it in, rolls off, and as they come down, I believe a foul will be called on TJ Johnson.
Tell you, Ira Newble's doing a good job for the Redskins on the boards. He got the ball out on a great outlet pass. There's Wally Zerbiak. Was able to get it up and over the rim, but couldn't finish.
Zerbiak had the shot. He also had Jermaine Henderson streaking down the right side that he could have passed to. Now Henderson comes out of the ball game, and Devin Davis goes to the foul line for the Redskins. Damon Frierson back in for Miami. Davis's shot is off, and a whistle, and Newble is clapping, so it appears a foul will go against Torrey Braggs.
Skip's got a great demeanor on the bench. I'll tell you, after that UC ball game, kind of very quietly acted like he had been there before. And he has. He's been in through all the big Xavier victories over the past decade with Pete Gillen.
There's a lane violation on Torrey Braggs, so Davis did it again, missed it again, and here come the Musketeers. Lumpkin to Lenny Brown. They lead here 34-32, 6:49 to go. Braggs outside to Posey. Posey tries the right side and gets a big screen, but can't get open. Back outside to Johnson. Braggs working on Zerbiak, fakes it, tries from 15, can't get it. Posey is there with a stick back. James Posey, man on the spot there, as Frierson brings it down as the Musketeers lead is back up to 4. Now Mestis backs it up, looks at Coach Charlie Coles as they get ready to reset the offense. Pass to Zerbiak, and a whistle as he cut across the lane, and I think they got Zerbiak for a travel.
A little extra step.
Zerbiak, who's been near perfect in this first half. He didn't start the game, but came on quickly, and he has really sparked this Miami ball club.
It's going to be a half-court opportunity, John. Probably look for the Musketeers to really jam it inside to either Torrey Braggs or TJ Johnson. Try to get a foul. Maybe a 3-point play.
This is Brown outside, dribbling with the left hand, goes in and can't get it. Rebound Zerbiak. Zerbiak gets hammered as he comes down right on the forehead, and I believe that's Braggs who will get called for the violation.
Here you see Lenny Brown. Not many players in the country are going to be able to stay with Lenny Brown. He's so quick to the basket. You see Torrey Braggs a little aggressive. That's his 3rd foul, trying to reach over the back. Zerbiak with a good rebound. Braggs will sit the rest of the half out with 5:52 remaining.
Darnell Williams back in as Braggs takes a seat and mops his brow. His Musketeers have a 36-32 lead. Plenty of time still in this first half. Xavier goes to the line and hits his first.
It's 10 points for Xavier here in the first half. Key player, sophomore, averaged 8 points and 5.5 rebounds last year for the Redskins. Put some weight on. Looks like a good player for the Redskins.
Redskins come in with a win over Virginia Commonwealth. They go next Wednesday and play Dayton, one of their only 2 home games before the conference schedule gets underway. Darnell Williams, bounce pass into TJ. He's tied up, but then he turns on Devin Davis, trying to get some movement, couldn't do it, and a travel is called on Darnell Williams.
TJ had a wet spot in the floor. Looks like he walked originally because his pivot foot moved, but the referees caught Darnell Williams on the walk later on.
Musketeers lead is 3. Frierson working the ball over as Darnell Williams must have slipped on something else. He went down right in front of us and wasn't even guarding anyone. Devin Davis now goes in right side and off the glass. It's a 1-point game. Williams operating in the corner, back outside to Brown, top of the key. Inside to TJ. TJ, and he's returned. Devin Davis gets called for the foul.
There's a war going on inside, John. Devin Davis, a lot of physical contact. There you see TJ gets the ball a little bit further out than he would like. Drops the shoulder and goes to the basket. You could see Davis. A lot of contact.
One of the things is when you come off the game like Tuesday, which was a very physical game, and frankly, they let the guys play pretty well. And then you come into a game like this, maybe things are called a little closer.
And it can be very on slight degree and be totally different. You could pick up 2 or 3 different fouls where you didn't on the previous game. TJ Johnson hasn't scored yet. Been such a steady influence as a junior. Got a lot of pressure off him this year. Was asked to do a lot last year, rebounding-wise. With Braggs and Posey, took some of the pressure off TJ Johnson.
Posey, good hustle, but Newble then got the loose ball as Posey fell down and threw it. Frierson outside to Mestis, back to Damon Frierson, picked up by Williams inside to Newble. Newble trying to back in, now he gets it out to Davis. Davis a 3-point try, he's off the mark, and Lumpkin picks up the loose ball. He looks up court for Posey, but Posey didn't have enough separage there. And now let's go to Lenny Brown. Brown is pushed, and it's going to be 3 shots as Devin Davis collects his second foul, quick foul, and he sits right on the bench. Devin Davis gets nailed with his 3rd foul of this first half.
Lenny Brown, there's he step in at the 3-point curve. He's a guy that got very frustrated last year when the opposition would leave him open, and really worked on his shooting over the summer, and is definitely a deep threat. Hit 4 of 8 3-pointers against the Bearcats.
Assistant coach Thad Matta talking to Devin Davis over there on the Miami bench as Lenny Brown hits his 2nd.
Boy, he was happy after that great basket against the Bearcats. Biggest shot of his life, he said.
And he's not one of those guys that said, yeah, I knew it was going in.
I know, he said
I threw it up there and I needed a little luck. He was terrific. 38-35. Xavier now in the lead. 4.5 minutes as the Redskins bring it down. Frierson pulls up, can't hit it. Xavier tries, can't get it. Williams comes down with a rebound. He throws ahead to Posey. Posey now backs it up a little bit to Lumpkin. Lumpkin thinks about it. He's hit everything from out there. Now top of the key, and, well, that wasn't his spot, was it?
You got to take that shot, though, as the point guard wide open at the top of the key.
There's Lumpkin.
If you're going to take that shot, you better have your feet not on the line, too. That would not have been a 3.
James Posey goes to the line. 6'7" sophomore out of Twinsburg, Ohio. One of the real outstanding high school players in Ohio just a couple of years ago. And he gets his first foul shot.
Ohio Division II Player of the Year. Musketeers hitting their free throws so far, 8 of 10.
Posey gets them both, and Kevin Carr making his first appearance of the night, giving T.J. Johnson a rest for the rest of this half, we assume. 4:13 to go in this first half, and the Musketeers now up by 5.
He's had some knee trouble. Had a gutsy appearance against the Bearcats, John.
And Lenny Brown gets called for the foul as Mestis tried to get around him, and Brown was in his way. The second foul on Lenny. Mestis goes to the line for a near full house at the Cincinnati Gardens. A little bit late in arriving, but since opening tip, they've kept coming in, and there were only about 600 tickets available before game time, and some of those have gone as well. There's Lumpkin out to Posey, to Darnell Williams, and Lumpkin again. Now Lenny Brown, he doesn't hesitate, he tries, can't get it. Newble with the rebound. Newble to Mestis. Mestis to Zerbiak. He cross-courts it over to Frierson.
You see the Redskins slow it down a little more often. Good to back out, be patient. That's why they execute their half-court offense so well.
It's like they're looking long and hard for Newble, who's now covered by Kevin Carr, as that ball is thrown up and missed, and the Musketeers come back with it. Lumpkin to Posey in the corner. Posey tries inside, now fires off to Brown, but he's called for a travel. We have a timeout here at the Cincinnati Gardens. Xavier ahead of the Redskins, 40-35.
Good.
The other newcomer there with the offensive rebound and the putback. John, Gary.
Thank you, Dee. 40-35. Xavier in front with 3:15 to go. 4 lead changes and 3 ties so far in this first half of play. Xavier had jumped out ahead a little bit, had the crowd in his corner, but then all of a sudden Miami came off the bench, especially with Wally Zerbiak hitting some big threes, and it's been a good first half.
Musketeers were the biggest lead, largely due to the fact that they've evened up the rebounds a little bit. 19 for Miami and 13 for the Musketeers. Originally, that was 11-1, so they've come back on the rebounding edge.
This is Frierson on the wing. Gets a pick from Zerbiak, takes it in. Nice move by David Frierson. Nice loft on that ball.
Lenny Brown tried to take the charge. Frierson stopped in time and laid it in. Nice play.
Darnell Williams now guarded by Frierson. Musketeer lead is 3. 2:40 to go in the first half. Lumpkin to Posey.
Newble and Carr are very physical inside. You saw T.J. Johnson's gotten into a little foul trouble, but Newble is a real force inside. He doesn't look like a big guy in particular. Moves very well and uses his body all the time.
Now, Kevin Carr's obviously still not 100%, but I'll tell you what, he gave about 11 minutes in that game against the UC Bearcats, and those were big minutes.
Big minutes, gutsy play, I thought, coming off a knee surgery. Not easy to begin with, and then you put him into a pressure-packed game like that. He came on, and you need a body. You need a big body to go in there and bang and get some things done. He didn't have any points or rebounds, but he sure provided some punch for the Musketeers.
James Posey already with 6, make it 7.
5 of those from the free throw line. 5 for 5. Boy, he's very anxious to play this year after having to sit out last year. Very active player. Fits perfectly in a Skip Froster's system with pressure and movement.
Obviously did a lot of his homework during the offseason because he's come to play this year. Henderson hurries it down, but it's stolen by Brown. Brown is swatted away then by Frierson, and a foul is called.
John, the other thing about Posey, and really what created that turnover, he plays so big. You hear coaches talk, look at how big he plays. His arms are so long. You hear coaches talk about guys that play big. Well, that's what they mean. Their arms are long. Plays a lot bigger than he really looks.
Give that foul to Rob Mestis. That's my mistake, as Kenneth Bozeman comes back in, and so does Anthony Taylor, and Mestis sits down, and so does Jermaine Henderson.
Anybody that saw the Bearcat game, the UC Xavier game, saw Lenny Brown really chew up Darnell Burton. Darnell Burton had a hard time defending against Lenny, especially when he made some outside shots. He had to get up and play him a little bit. Lenny is so quick that he took him to the basket. One of the reasons he was able to make the final shot be so open on the last shot.
Brown hits his second, and the Musketeers up by 6. 2:27 in the first half to go. Williams and Posey all over, and they steal the ball away, but the Redskins get it back and still keep going at it as Posey. Boy, did he work. Redskins come up with it, but I'll tell you, it was a fight.
And the Musketeers are trying to finish with a flurry. There was 1 second left on the shot clock, or on the 10-second clock.
This is Newble outside, guarded by Carr. Side to Frierson as Sherwin Anderson comes in ready to check in. And Frierson turned, and Posey goes flying, and the foul is on Frierson.
John, that was a great defensive series by the Musketeers. All guys working 100%, both mentally and physically. You see Posey step out, and that's one of the things Coach Prosser recruits. He recruits men, not just kids, but men that can play defense. You saw Posey do it right there.
Third personal foul now on Damon Frierson, an important part of that Miami Redskin team. He sits down. Jermaine Henderson gets right back up off the bench. 2 minutes even to go in this first half of play. We expected it to be close. It's been close most of the way. Anderson now operating the offense for the Musketeers. Sherwin goes in. Feed, beautiful feed to James Posey.
That's what the Musketeer fans expect out of Sherwin Anderson. Penetration and a dish off. Couldn't even see him. He was in the forest.
I'm glad he saw James Posey, because I couldn't see Sherwin Anderson in those big trees.
Musketeers really applied pressure on the inbounds play. They want to finish this half with some momentum.
Biggest lead of the first half now, 45-37 for the Musketeers. 1:33 to go. Lumpkin tries the baseline, backs it back out. Now goes inside the Carr. Carr will turn and hit on Chad Allen.
And he's going to be fouled. He's going to go to the line. Looked like a set play. Went to the left side. Gary Lumpkin didn't have the three-shot open. Into Carr and goes strong to the basket.
Lumpkin leaves. Lenny Brown comes in, and boy, these Musketeers are fired up because Kevin Carr was able to make that move, and they know that's big for them this season.
Well, the fans love it. They know the effort that's gone into Kevin Carr's rehabilitation with his knee. They love to see somebody come back and do well, and Kevin Carr has done just that.
Kyle Johnson out of Talawanda High School is into the game for the first time, as Chad Allen from Levittsburg just checked out. He wasn't in very long. Kevin Carr goes to the line. This one skips out. Musketeers up by 10, 47-37, 1:20. Here's Henderson. Henderson outside to Bozeman. Really a makeshift lineup in there now for the Redskins, who have foul problems, and well, they have just some problems in trying to get that ball down court against the Musketeers.
Kevin Carr had a tough time maneuvering. Couldn't cut the baseline off. You got to get there a little quicker. Got to get that foot on the baseline.
Kenneth Bozeman out of Dunbar High School in Dayton.
John, he's one of the guys that considered transferring after Herb Sendek left.
See Skip Prosser kind of saying, let's keep it up. We only have a minute 12 to go in this first half of play. He wants that intensity to stay with the Musketeers. Anderson skims around, leaves Williams open from the side, can't get it off the side of the rim. Rebound for the Redskins. Under a minute. Pass ahead, Sherwin Anderson picks it off. takes it down, and he goes up on his own, Sherwin Anderson. And he gets called for a charge.
He thought he had the bucket. A little bit of a look at Skip. A little premature celebration. He is a rocket. Look at Sherwin Anderson. Take it to the hoop. Bozeman looked like he had maintained position. And that's one of the things that they talk about. Musketeers force another turnover.
Miami throws it away. They had everybody covered pretty well there. 50 seconds to go. The Musketeers up by 9.
That's one of those events where Sherwin Anderson is probably better off to dish it out. Let somebody take the short jumper, and that's what Skip Prosser talks about, him needing to be under control at all times.
Into Williams. Williams from the side. Right decision that time for Sherwin. He found Darnell Williams streaking in from the baseline. Hit him on the run.
That's a smart inbounds play. Darnell Williams caught Wally Zerbiak asleep on the backside. There you see Zerbiak not watching. He's inside. Didn't have any idea where Darnell Williams was. Good, strong move. Finishes off, and 49 seconds remain in the half.
One of the things about Sherwin Anderson that I've noticed this year, he's not worried so much about shooting. That's why it was kind of interesting to see him go to the rim. But he's been making, I think, some awfully good decisions as far as ball handling and passing, and also with his defense.
Well, the coaches have said he understands his role much better than he has in the past, and he's accepted it. Even more importantly, has had a great attitude.
Musketeers pick it off. There's Sherwin again. Back to Kenny Harvey, and it's, whoa, swatted out of bounds.
John, it's 50-38. At the 8-minute mark, the Musketeers were behind 30-29. Gone on a great run.
Kenny Harvey inbounds it to Anderson. 38 seconds left. 12-point lead for the Musketeers. Anderson goes in that time, and
he wanted one for himself that time. He's dished it off 3 or 4 times in a row.
a couple of Redskins got their hands on it. The Musketeers retain possession. Into Carr. Carr over to Harvey. Harvey to Darnell Williams, who spins, turns around, tries to get it. Rebound, Musketeers, and Posey up strong. Bozeman out to Zerbiak as the Redskins right now look very desperate. Newble tries, can't hit it, and the ball goes to the Musketeers.
3.6 seconds. Musketeers need to try to get a nice shot off. A good shot. Got plenty of time.
Sherwin goes in over half court. Tries to throw it up, and the ball is knocked away, but the Musketeers go in very happy after this hard-fought first half. A close game for the first several minutes. That's not the way it is right now. That's the end of the first half of tonight's game. Stay tuned. DJ is up next with a halftime report, and we'll be back with more later from the Cincinnati Gardens, where the halftime score is Xavier 52, Miami 38.
Hello again, everyone. It is halftime at Cincinnati Gardens, where the Xavier Musketeers and Miami Redskins are kicking off Channel 9's slate of Xavier telecasts for the 1996-97 season. Xavier, coming off its emotional 71-69 win over Cincinnati Tuesday night, is facing the other prong of the mythical Miami Valley Conference. This is their first meeting with Charlie Coles at the helm in Oxford. At intermission, it's 52-38 Xavier. Charlie Coles' Redskins have some veterans and some talented underclassmen suited up this season. Take Jermaine Henderson, for instance. He'll pass inside to Damon Frierson, who goes off the glass to give Miami an early lead. But Xavier has some bulk inside to give them more balance. But this time, Torrey Braggs puts it up from 15 feet out. Count it. Evan Davis, Dr. Dreads, the heart and soul of this Miami team. He'll drain the three as this lead shifted back and forth in the first half early, at least. Lenny Brown passes to Braggs off the glass as Xavier put together a run to claim the lead. Gary Lumpkin would get in the act, finding Brown on the inbounds play. He'll bury the three in a hotly contested first half of basketball, with Xavier leading 52-38. Now, earlier this afternoon, the UC Bearcats rebounded from their Tuesday loss to Xavier, even as Ruben Patterson rode this one out. A apparently for lack of effort in practice. The Cats worked out their frustrations on Rutgers to the tune of 105-65. Coach Bob Huggins clearly in a better mood today than he was in the aftermath of Tuesday's game. He had reason to be. Charles Williams to Darnell Burton to Danny Fortson, 2 of his game-high 24. Terrence Davis would work the offense to DeJuan Baker. He drives for the deuce, collects the foul in the process. He had 14 points. Darnell Burton missing in action Tuesday, back in business. The tray for him on the way to 17 points. He had 5 assists. Up 45-27 at intermission. They got it going. Damon Flint up court to Melvin Levitt to Jackson Jolson for the jam. UC routs Rutgers by 40 points.
We played harder. We got a long way to go. We don't pass it. We don't see people. We just don't. You know, we played much harder. And when we got the game going up and down the way we need the game to go up and down.
Next up for the Bearcats is Kansas this Wednesday night at the Great 8 Shootout in Chicago. Yet to come tonight, the 8th-rated Kentucky Wildcats playing the College of Charleston at midnight in the Great Alaskan Shootout. Elsewhere this afternoon and this evening in the Puerto Rican Shootout, Butler shoots a paltry 33% from the field. Alvin Williams, 17 points for Villanova. They win 62-54. Terrell McIntyre hit a 3 with 12 seconds left, pushed Clemson past Missouri 47-45. First meeting between San Francisco and Arkansas in 49 years goes to the Razorbacks 77-63. And Georgetown held DePaul to 41 points, winning by 27. And Joey Myers' Blue Demons have to be stunned by this sad reversal of fortune because everything went right for the Hoyas. Watkins trying to pass inside, inadvertently scores. It was one of those days. It only got worse for DePaul. They kicked it around, and it resulted in yet another Georgetown basket as they pretty much had their way at home. Georgetown rules DePaul today 68-41. In women's college action this afternoon, Otterbein defeated Cincinnati State 80-65 in the first game of the Skyline Chili Classic at Thomas More. The hostesses, meantime, defeated Wilberforce 111-76. The Lady Tigers play Wilberforce in the consolation game at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Thomas More and Otterbein play for the title 3 o'clock at Thomas More College. Thanks to producer Amy Rourke, you're up to date on what's happening in college basketball. Settle in for the second half of Xavier and Miami. Dee, John, and Gary with the call from the Gardens. And later tonight, it's Notre Dame and USC right here on Channel 9. Enjoy the second half and the rest of your evening.
D-Line, and welcome you back to the Cincinnati Gardens, where the Xavier Musketeers have built a 14-point lead on Miami here at the half. Last season was Xavier's first in the Atlantic 10. It was also their first losing season in 14 years. After being in a mediocre conference of the MCC, they went to a very tough conference in the Atlantic 10. Xavier now has to fight to get respect in that tough conference. Last season was one of the most successful in the conference history, and when asked about the future of the league, coaches around the Atlantic 10 said they thought this was just the beginning.
What do Skip Prosser and all of these coaches have in common? Simply stated, they are all part of the Atlantic 10 Conference. Last year, you might recall, the league expanded, adding Xavier, Virginia Tech, Dayton, LaSalle, and Fordham. The expansion created the East and West divisions of the A-10, which proved to be beneficial for everyone.
We're trying to take it to the next level, to be honest, try to compete at a national level conference. I think we have great rivalries in the league already. Dayton's a natural rivalry because of geography, and I think the people in the city of Cincinnati who have long been great college basketball fans are now becoming great Atlantic 10 basketball fans.
The postseason that the Atlantic 10 enjoyed was one to remember. It was the first time a league team ever reached the Final Four. Who can forget UMass with A-10 Player of the Year Marcus Camby? But that wasn't all. St. Joe's was the first Atlantic 10 team to compete in the NIT Finals. At the end of March, the Atlantic 10 had compiled a 12-6 postseason record. Not bad. But what about the upcoming season? This is how the coaches and media picked it. In the East, UMass is still the team to beat despite the departure of John Calipari and Marcus Camby. The Minutemen are followed closely by Temple and Rhode Island. In the West, George Washington is the front runner. XU is picked to finish second.
This is a very competitive league, and this is a very, very well-coached basketball league. And when you have a lot of good coaches, a lot of good teams, there's not going to be many blowouts. And
not only will the conference show a good season within itself, but look for at least a few teams to contend in the NCAA tournament.
When
you just look at the teams just going into the season, and I think there'll be even more by the time the season ends, there's legitimately 6 NCAA caliber teams. So I think it's one of the best leagues in the country.
I think you can look forward to our league being in the top 10, which means that there's a strong possibility with strength of schedule and with us competing like we are with the kind of players that we have, that you're going to be looking at more than just 2 or 3 teams in the NCAA.
With the loss of talented players like Camby, his former teammate Don Bright, and George Washington's Kwame Evans, coaches do agree some of this year's teams are very young.
There's an influx of young players that people are really going to get excited about. And when you have carryover like Tyson Wheeler and the 2 players at the guards at UMass, Alexander Cool, it's going to be terrific.
I think it's going to be an exciting year for the Atlantic 10. A lot of good players have left, but there are a lot of great players that remain.
That is a preseason look at this year's Atlantic 10 Conference. For that story and much, much more about this year's Musketeers, tune in this Thursday at 10 o'clock when we will bring you our first edition of the Muskie Report. That will be at 10, and then the Xavier Loyola Marymount game follows it beginning at 10:30. Right now, X has Miami by 14. John and Gary are back with halftime statistics right after this.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cincinnati Gardens. We're at halftime, about 4 minutes before the second half tip-off, and the Xavier Musketeers holding a 52-38 lead over the Miami Redskins. John Popovich along with Gary Massa. Let's take a look at some of the statistics from this first half that has given Xavier that big lead. Gary shooting, hey, both teams are shooting very well.
Both teams shot the ball. Well, we mentioned that the Musketeers got caught up in that half-court offense early on, but they turned the juice up on their press. And you can see the three-point field goal percentage, 3 of 5 for the Musketeers. Gary Lumpkin hit all 3 of those. Redskins 4 of 9. Musketeers 13 free throws that they made compared to Miami just 2. Doing well from the line. And we mentioned on the pregame that Miami is going to have to go to the line and make to do well today. Turnovers the big key factor. I mentioned that the Musketeers turned the heat up late in the first half. 17 turnovers they forced. A big part of their offense. 21 turnovers that they forced against UC, against Western Kentucky 24. This is a big part of the game plan, and it's working for the Musketeers today. And then you see the rebounds at the beginning were out of whack. 11-1, Miami had a lead over the Musketeers, but the big lead, 52-38, is because the Musketeers have rebounded the ball very well late in the second half.
We mentioned in the pregame that James Posey, coming off the bench, has done such an outstanding job for these Musketeers. Watch this sequence here.
What a great addition. You get an idea of how big he plays. Look at how long his arms were. He was excited with that follow-up dunk. Plays very big, plays long, and the other thing, he's very active and very quick to the basketball.
Posey has done well with 10 points already. One other thing we should mention, not in the statistics, well, as let's take a look at the first of the scoring. Lumpkin 14 points, Posey second best, and Braggs also with 12, and Braggs spent a lot of time on the bench.
Yeah, Posey and Braggs both helped T.J. Johnson take some of the pressure off of him. Miami, as you mentioned, Zerbiak with 10. Devin Davis with 7. T.J. Johnson, a good job containing Devin Davis down low. We mentioned Davis has the ability to take control of a basketball game. Musketeers haven't allowed him to do that.
Zerbiak also came off the bench, and he heated up real quickly. Hit a couple of threes, and
look at the great fake, John. We mentioned a shooter's got to be able to put the ball in the basket and be able to fake like that to be able to be successful. If you're a good shooter, the defense is going to be all over you. You got to have some skills to be able to put the ball on the floor and be able to fake, and Zerbiak did that there.
Very good. We'll be back with the second half. Xavier against Miami. The Musketeers leading 52-38 right after this.
Xavier and Miami are getting ready to play second half action. This is a continuation of one of the rivalries that exists in the mythical Miami Valley Conference, which is an imaginary conference that includes Xavier, Miami, Dayton, and Cincinnati. With Xavier's win over Cincinnati, they have the upper hand in the MMVC, if you will, in this early stage of the season. Xavier and Cincinnati are the only teams with any games played in it so far. Miami plays their first game tonight here with Xavier, and Dayton will get into action Wednesday up in Miami. Cincinnati no longer plays Miami or Dayton, as you all are very familiar with. Gary, John?
Thank you, Dee. Back to action as we get ready to start the second half. 52-38, Xavier leads it. And both teams come on with the same 5 that started the game for them. Should mention Torrey Bragg starts the second half with 3 personal fouls as Damon Frierson throws one up and misses it, and the Musketeers grab it. But Miami's Frierson, Devin Davis, Rob Mestis, and Wally Zerbiak all start the second half with 3 personal fouls.
John, we saw the Musketeers finish the first half with a flurry. They always like to come out. Skip Prosser very, very demanding that they start the second half with that same momentum, the same enthusiasm.
Quick pass inside, glanced off T.J. Johnson's hands and out of bounds, and it's Miami's ball.
You can see Jeff Battle sitting next to Skip Prosser. It was his scout. You can always tell which assistant coach had the scout. They're a little bit more, the intensity levels up a little bit.
Davis loses control. Lenny Brown grabs it. Lumpkin ahead to Braggs. Braggs underneath, goes up with the left hand and hits, and the Musketeers strike early. The lead is 16 as Miami has trouble inbounding the ball once again, and Miami calls a timeout. 22nd timeout now for the Miami Redskins, and you know they had to talk about this in the locker room, but
start with that same intensity that you finished the second half with, or the first half. Look at Torrey Bragg, very good agility, finishing off underneath. John, we've talked a lot about this pressure. And the coaches tell you, they'll tell you, in order to make this happen, because they used the same kind of pressure last year, they just didn't have the luxury of the bullets in the gun that they have this year. You got to be in great shape, they talk about. You got to understand your role. Every guy has to understand the role, and there has to be 100% effort mentally and physically from everybody on the court to make it come together. Musketeers are executing that pressure this year in an unbelievable way.
See there, Miami's turned the ball over 8 more times than the Musketeers as Mestis brings it down this time for Miami without any trouble. 54-38. Goes around Newble. Picked up well by Lumpkin. Now inside to Devin Davis. Devin Davis working on TJ. He's short, but a whistle. And TJ Johnson gets whistled for a foul, and that will be...
It's TJ's third foul. And if I'm Charlie Coles, I'm going to get Devin Davis involved in the offense. They just didn't really get him. We saw Devin Davis, and there you see, again, that was not a great shot. You saw him fade in the air. A good shot, you want to turn around and go straight up and down.
Not a very convincing foul either, if it was, as Davis goes to the line.
But Davis is a guy that has to be seriously involved in your offense for the Redskins to win. We saw him with the ball way out on the floor too often in the first half. He's not going to hurt you from 3-point range. And you can look for the Musketeers to try to drive the ball into Devin Davis here in the second half.
It's his second, 54-39, 18:55 to go in this ball game. Musketeers led by 14 at half. Lumpkin around TJ, now back to TJ. Picked up there by Davis, over to Darnell Williams on the left side. They kick it back out to Brown. Inside to Bragg. Bragg's trying to back into Newble, but I think he took a step as he tried to do so, and he did.
He tried to use his body to back into Newble. Newble wasn't there, so he had to take a step. Boy, he's a strong guy. He's had a great start. Musketeers love his action so far this year.
Full court pressure continues. Now they back up a little bit as Mestis brings it down. Bragg stays on Mestis. Lenny Brown comes up. He tosses over well to Jermaine Henderson. Henderson from outside hits a 3.
That's what'll kill you off pressure. Wide open 3-point shot.
Redskins knock it down to 12. Lumpkin, he'll try outside. Skips off. Johnson had it, and a whistle blows as it pretty much was ejected from his hands.
TJ's had a tough day. No points, but he's done a good job. He's been very active on Davis and Newble inside. There have been some wars going on in the paint.
Lumpkin operating outside to Lenny Brown, cutting across, and a whistle as he does so, and the Redskins have committed a foul.
I think they're going to call Jermaine Henderson. Had a hand. That's his third foul. And take a look at Lenny. Lenny Brown is so fast. It's just impossible to stay up with him.
4 players now of Miami with 3 fouls in this ball game. Musketeers both with T.J. Johnson and Torrey Braggs with 3 apiece. Into TJ, trying to turn on Davis. Now kicks it back to Braggs. Braggs, one step goes in. It skips off, and Ira Newble with the rebound. Miami with a chance to catch up a little bit in this game. Trailed by 14 at the half, have it down to 12, and the Musketeers haven't been able to put it in the basket last few times down. Mestis over to Henderson. Over to Frierson.
I really like the way the Musketeers work on defense. They really turn it up a little bit on the last 10 minutes of the first half.
Newble from the side as the shot clock was down to about 6 seconds. He hits, and we have a 10-point ball game, and Henderson almost picked off the pass but couldn't stay in bounds. Lenny Brown will inbound it right in front of us. To Lumpkin, back to Brown in the corner. Brown will try from there, and he hits a three. Lenny Brown, three-point shot to his repertoire for tonight. 57-44 Musketeers. Frierson tried to go inside to Newble. The ball's kicked out of bounds by the Musketeers. There's Charlie Coles, who was an outstanding shooting guard for Miami in the early to mid-60s. Scored over almost 1,100 points for the Redskins.
He averaged over 42 points a game in his senior year in high school. It's the second best scoring average all time in Ohio prep history.
Native of Yellow Springs, Ohio. Played under Dick Schreider for the Miami Redskins, and Dick, an outstanding coach and then an outstanding athletic director for many years in Oxford. He really helped bring a lot of quality to this Miami program. As James Posey comes into the lineup, T.J. Johnson leaves
and you can
with
see
his fourth foul.
T.J. got hooked. Devin Davis is somebody very active and agile up front. T.J. not able to stay with him.
So he picks up 2 quick fouls here in the second half, and now he's in danger. Frierson outside to Mestis. Musketeers by 13. Inside to Devin Davis. Loops it out to Newble. Newble charges in and gets called for a charge.
That's one of the things the Musketeers did well Tuesday against Danny Fortson, is collapse. They're going to do that on Devin Davis. Look at the ball come in. Double team when the ball gets into the big people. James Posey drew the foul. Robbie Mestis called for the foul. He was a Mr. Basketball in the state of Minnesota.
And that'll be the fourth foul on Mestis, yes. Kenneth Bozeman back into the Redskins lineup as the Musketeers go back on the offense. Gary Lumpkin running things over to Braggs. Braggs picked up by Newble. Looking inside to Posey, who's really taken a couple of shots from Devin Davis inside. Lumpkin back to Braggs. Braggs cutting across the lane, goes up with the left hand and just beautifully scoops it in.
Sweet move to the lane.
And a foul called on Gary Lumpkin as the pressure kept up for the Musketeers. We have a timeout here at the Cincinnati Gardens. 59-44. Xavier in the lead. We'll be right back.
In no make every minute count.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Cincinnati Gardens. You know, James Posey has really made a strong impact in the early going of the Xavier season. He's a sixth man, but you don't have to be a starting lineup to do so. Many people aren't aware that he was on this team a year ago, but he had to sit out to work on his academics. We talked with James about that and about how difficult it was for him to sit and watch.
Well, it was pretty tough because I never went to school without playing a sport. So sport usually got me going, kept me going through the school year. But last year sitting out, it was tough for me to watch the guys come over here and practice and then playing the games, and me just being a fan in the Gardens or at practice, just watching my teammates and friends just play the game, and I'm having to sit out this year.
as you can see, James had 12 first-half points, 4 rebounds, and he is very, very active defensively. John, Gary?
Thank you, Dee. 59-44. The Musketeers in the lead as Devin Davis brings it across. Damon Frierson. He's guarded there by Lumpkin. Bozeman. Outside to Henderson. Redskins trying to make a dent in this big lead. Musketeers had a 14-point edge at halftime. You say edge, a bulge. As Frierson goes up with that left hand, gets the bounce, and the Redskins get back on the board. Here's Posey on top of the key. To Darnell Williams, and his lead pass inside to Braggs, just a little bit too far.
It's a couple of possessions in a row. You can see Skip not real happy with the last couple of possessions. Not very well executed.
Bozeman hurries it down, puts on the brakes, fires to Henderson. Henderson a long three, and he hits it.
And John, I was just about to say the Musketeers definitely had trouble last year putting people away. Had a tough year, but even when they had big leads, they had trouble putting that nail in the coffin. And it's one thing that with a 10-point lead you want to try to execute right now.
9,160 at the Gardens, watching the Musketeers owning a 10-point lead on the Redskins. Teray Braggs fires it out to Lumpkin. Lumpkin is off to the right. Davis with the rebound, and the Redskins have a chance to cut into this more, but no, Lenny Brown with the steal. He goes up on the left side and hits.
That's just not a real good choice by Devin Davis to take the ball.
And Posey with the steal on the inbound. Brown, Lumpkin, got it!
That'll wake the crowd up. 2 poor choices by a senior and Devin Davis. One to try to dribble the ball up court, and the other to pass, a real bad pass.
Davis looked like he traveled, no call though, as he's able to lay it in. Gets it back to 12. Right there, it looked like the Redskins were really ready to cut deeply into this lead, and then all of a sudden, a couple of quick plays like that on defense. Lumpkin goes in, and he gets the roll. Henderson ahead, and now he slows it down as Darnell Williams picks him up. Back to 14 for the Musketeers. 13:35 to go in this game. Bozeman on the wing looking for Newble. He gets it. Williams came over to help out, but it didn't stop Newble, and a foul is called.
And Williams typically very quick. He's able to recover and come back weak side. Just way too late. You can't let the big guy catch it inside. You saw Lenny Brown unable to, even though he was fronting, unable to be real effective, and Darnell Williams just late coming over on weak side help.
65-53, 13.5 minutes, sending Ira Newble to the line. Miami and Xavier have been playing basketball even longer than the crosstown shootout was in existence. This series started back in the 1920-21 season. And after all those meetings, the Redskins only own a 42-41 advantage. So you can see how close it's been through the years. Pass ahead to Williams. Williams to Carr, who just got into the lineup. And that one goes into Braggs, and Braggs comes up and gets fouled.
John, you mentioned the rivalry. I had a chance to play in 4 of those games and really enjoyed the atmosphere up at Millett Hall and down here. Miami was always very, very tough defensive team.
That was Darrell Hedrick coaching at that time.
Darrell Hedrick did a great job up there. He's still involved with the university. They always had real scrappy players and very, very good defensive half-court type teams, and won a lot of championships back in the MAC with Archie Aldridge and Chuck Goodyear. Randy Ayers now up at Ohio State. We've got a rich tradition. Charlie Coles is trying to continue that.
Lenny Brown's with the inbounds. Tried to go to Carr. It's picked off by Henderson. Henderson takes it past Williams. Tipped up there. Can't get it. Carr comes down with the ball. Break for the Musketeers. Made a bad pass on that one. Here's Carr and Davis. Davis called for the foul.
That's his 4th, John. That really hurts the run that the Redskins were on, because they're going to have to yank him out. And it'll be a different kind of ball game. You see Robbie Mestis coming in. Totally different kind of player than Devin Davis, obviously.
You're trading, what, 5'11" for 6'7" right there. And I think it's a stretch to say Rob Mestis is 5'11". Lenny Brown goes underneath, bounce pass, Braggs and scoop, can't get it. Henderson, the rebound, pulls it away. Mestis, cross court, Frierson one dribble, pulls up, he can't get it. Newble fights for that rebound and then throws it past Frierson. Newble had the right idea. I don't think Frierson knew it was coming.
Good offensive play, offensive board play by Newble, but a poor decision to make that pass. You got to go back up with it.
James Posey getting ready to check back in as Lumpkin operates the Musketeers. To Braggs, top of the key to Brown. Brown on the left side, goes up off the glass and in.
Little isolation for Lenny Brown. Came off a pick, a little bit of a screen, got open.
Darnell Williams comes out, Posey comes in. And the Musketeers, 8 minutes into this second half, still owning a 14-point lead, same one they did at halftime. Mestis working against Braggs with the left hand. Now fires outside to Frierson. Frierson back to Mestis, thought about it. To Henderson. Henderson will shoot. Can't get this one. Carr with a good effort. Grabs the rebound, falls down and gets it to Lenny Brown. Brown went into the lane, but turns the ball over.
A little sloppy.
Both teams go to the bench. We have a timeout. Xavier on top of Miami, 67-53. Back at the Cincinnati Gardens, everyone, 67-53. Xavier in the lead. And let's take a look at a Provident Bank action replay. And there you see moments ago, Devin Davis trying to take the ball up. Lenny Brown takes it away from him, Gary.
That's a poor decision to begin with. Your center shouldn't take the ball and try to start the break. But Lenny gets it, knocks it in, finishes it off, and then watch what happened. Well, we're not going to see it, but after that, Devin Davis made another poor decision. He threw it in bounds. Another turnover, another basket for the Musketeers. The Redskins had it within 10, but the Redskins turn it over 2 times.
Sherwin Anderson back in for the Musketeers in the backcourt, 67-53. Xavier leading. Newble gets it down low, tried to fire over Zerbiak, and it's lost out of bounds.
Make that 23 turnovers, John.
Charlie Cole's wringing his hands a little bit because his team has been sloppy with the ball, or just had a hard time handling it against these pesky Musketeers as Torrey Bragg sits down.
Xavier's backcourt with a great game so far. Lumpkin with 18, Lenny Brown with 16, and Sherwin Anderson with the ball has 5 assists. And they're the guys causing all those turnovers. Great guard play from the Musketeers.
They turn it over this time, though. Newble picks it up to Mestis. Mestis trying to go right down the center, and it's swatted away by Lenny Brown. Redskins get it back. Newble to Mestis. And a foul is called as he ventured into the middle again, this time on Sherwin Anderson.
I'll tell you, when you have a shot blocker in the back, and Lenny Brown really isn't a shot blocker per se, but if James Posey can become a shot blocker, or Kevin Carr, it really lets you take a lot more chances on defense. You can take more risk, knowing that if your man beats you, somebody's going to be back there to play weak side or slap a shot away.
Henderson tries another 3. Can't get this one. Carr comes away with the rebound to Anderson. Anderson looking down to Posey. Posey's covered. Anderson now flips to Carr. Carr lays it in. Sherwin did a good job looking at a couple of options as he came down the center there. Didn't find Posey open, found Carr, and Carr was right next to the basket.
Carr started that play with his 4th rebound.
Zerbiak dribbling into trouble, and it's knocked away by the Musketeers out of bounds. Miami's ball. Lumpkin in. Lenny Brown comes out for the Xavier Musketeers.
Look at that pass. Sometimes you warn against too much passing in the lane. That turned out just fine for the Musketeers.
Mestis outside over to Frierson. Frierson working on Darnell Williams. Now picked up by Anderson, who knocks the ball loose. And that's what he keeps doing. He doesn't get them all, but he tries for every one.
And, John, you cannot help but be impressed by the quickness of the Musketeers, led by that fellow right there, Sherwin Anderson.
Well, Bob Huggins had even said before the crosstown shootout that Xavier might be the quickest team his Bearcats would play this year. Newble comes away with that Miami miss. Tried to go inside. Carr picks it up to Lumpkin. Lumpkin looking ahead. Still looking ahead as he takes it down and comes up with the ball. Almost traveled. Anderson now backs it up at the urging of his coach.
You're not going to see that very often. Sherwin usually likes to make things happen immediately.
Carr, nice pass to Williams. Darnell couldn't hit it, and Miami gets the rebound. 69-53 Musketeers. We hit 9.5 minutes to go in this one. Henderson, he'll keep trying. He hits this one.
Said it many times, a three-point field goal gets teams back into games very quickly.
And the Musketeers strike right back, 71-56. And Miami throws it away once more. That has been the biggest problem with trying to develop any consistency for this Miami offense today, is trying to move the ball and move it cleanly against the Musketeers.
And it's 24 turnovers now, John, and we talked about that, the quickness of the Xavier basketball team. It's a trademark that Coach Prosser wants to exhibit, a trademark of the team to be quick, play hard every time, that when you're going to come and play Xavier, you're going to have your hands full, kind of like Arkansas was, the 40 minutes of hell.
Anderson goes around. Carr flips it up there, and Posey almost had the stick back, couldn't get it. 71-56. Miami comes away with it. Mestis trotting it up right now. 8:45 to go in this game. Henderson with a fake, tries again. Anderson comes down with it. Sherwin Anderson in 3-on-3. Now he backs it up a little bit, tries again, spins through, and has no one to pass to. Posey grabbed the ball, got tackled. Anderson comes back with it. And Posey is hurt as he's rolling around near the foul line.
Well, he got rolled. I hope that's not a knee, because Frierson rolled right up his leg. I hope he's okay.
Everybody was going after the ball, and I think Posey just got the bad end of this one. There you see both he and Frierson went after it.
And just rolled right up the back of his leg. I think he's going to be okay. It looked like he rolled up the back and not on the side, which is where you get the medial ligament tears that everybody talks about.
Hey, here's the primetime lineup on Channel 9 tonight. 8 o'clock following this game, Notre Dame against USC. Lou Holtz's final regular season game as the Fighting Irish head coach. 11 o'clock, Channel 9 News. Then 11:35, Cash Explosion. Big lineup coming up on Channel 9 tonight. Don't forget, Notre Dame against USC right after this ball game. 20 minutes or so from now. Gary Lumpkin to inbound for the Musketeers, who own a 15-point lead, 71-56. T.J. Johnson back into the ball game. Going to Carr. Carr turning on Davis too hard with the one-hander, and Zerbiak grabs the rebound.
A little bit too far out on the floor for that one-handed half hook. I think Kevin Carr lost sight of where he was a little bit.
Mestis operating on the left wing to Zerbiak. Zerbiak fires, can't get it. Rebound Musketeers as it's tipped up there. And they're going to get the Musketeers, I believe, for pushing away.
There's some contact there. That could have been Devin Davis's 5th foul. But instead, it's going to be T.J. Johnson's
5th foul. Let's take a look at a Provident Bank action replay as you were looking at exactly what happened there. Zerbiak throws it up. You can see guys leaning on each other there. Oh, I don't know about that one. Devin Davis looked like he had a shoulder on T.J. Johnson.
I think that was one of the calls that just looked like it was supposed to be a foul, but in reality, T.J. really had position.
We have a timeout, 72-56. Xavier leads.
You like your...
Musketeers continue to be steady, 71-56, leading the Miami Redskins. 7:57 to go in this ball game. Let's take it a replay, and here's Darnell getting the pass down close, trying to cut through a couple of guys. And he goes up and hits. That play could help him earn the Budweiser Star of the Game. That award to be given out at the end of tonight's game between the Musketeers and the Redskins.
One of the things you love about Darnell Williams is he's a slasher. He's not necessarily a great shooter, but he slashes and he gets to the basket, and those kind of guys finish off. Very, very important. There's a lot of guys that can get to it, but don't finish.
Let's go to D-line and D.
John, I was just listening to the guys on the sideline. James Posey getting ready to come back in the game. He twisted his left knee, but obviously it's nothing serious.
Thank you, D. 71-56. Nearing the 7.5-minute mark of this ball game. Zerbiak outside, guarded by Braggs. Over to Jermaine. Damon Frierson is very short on his attempt from the side, but Mestis grabs the loose ball into Frierson. Frierson tries again, and Zerbiak goes after the ball. So Miami coming away with a few loose balls here. Jermaine Henderson misses. Here's Lumpkin comes away. Lumpkin ahead to Lenny Brown. Back outside to Gary Lumpkin. He slows it down and trying to take a few ticks off this clock.
That's a smart play. Do everything you can to get that press or that fast break opportunity, but pull it out if it's not there.
Plus is a little deflating to Miami. They went down there taking 3-4 shots at the basket, and Braggs comes back down and hits underneath.
Well, we've seen Braggs on 3 separate occasions, John, show great agility under the basket. Instead of going straight up, get your feet underneath you and be able to finish it. Great job.
Under 7 minutes, 73-56, and Braggs is called for the foul. Damon Frierson went around him, and all of a sudden things become even more complicated for Skip Prosser as far as his big people are concerned. That is number 4 on Braggs, T.J. Johnson, only a couple of minutes ago fouled out.
Just under 7 minutes. It's a long time to go with your big people in foul trouble.
Kevin Carr comes out, but he's going to go right back into the game as soon as Frierson shoots these foul shots. And the Musketeers want a short timeout here to talk things over, just to try to regroup with a little different looking lineup. Charlie Coles gets his guys aside. Just to give you an idea of the schedule coming up, Florida A&M, the Rattlers, coming here to play Monday night. Old Ken Riley, the former Bengal, that's his alma mater. He also coached there. They come in, and we'll get to see him on the basketball court. Then on Thursday night, the Musketeers at Loyola Marymount. And that game you can see on Channel 9. Tickets still available for that Florida A&M game, as well as other matchups in December. Long Island, Hofstra, and Kansas State. For tickets to these and all other Musketeer home games, you can call the Xavier ticket office at 745-3411 or call Ticketmaster at 749-4949.
Can't remember a more exciting team to watch. These guys are so quick. They can make things happen very, very quick. Great night to be able to bring your family down.
Musketeers trying to sprint out to a 3-0 start for this season, and a turnaround from last year where they struggled so much with that lineup that featured 3 freshmen.
They're going to definitely be a presence in the Atlantic 10 this year. 9-9 last year in their inaugural year. They'll do better than that this year.
Lumpkin outside, guarded by Mestis. Bounce pass into Posey. Posey back outside to Braggs, over to Lumpkin on the right wing to Brown. The Musketeers move it around, looking for an open shot. Darnell Williams goes in, he misses, but Braggs is there for the tip-in. Give that basket to Posey, as that ball is blocked by Darnell Williams, and the Musketeers get it right back. Musketeers have been full of these spurts tonight.
They really do have the opportunity to go on runs. It really takes the wind out of your sails, out of your opponent.
Lumpkin looking inside. Musketeers being a little bit more deliberate now. Braggs trying to get away. Fires into Lumpkin. Beautiful pass. And he lays it in.
Good motion. Good activity away from the ball. Gary Lumpkin made that happen. Nice inside pass by Braggs.
Musketeers lead now inching up to 20. Interesting that this was a team where a couple of our broadcasts last year, both in the second half, as Devin Davis missed it. I thought he was just going to slam that one home.
He did
didn't
too.
get up high enough. Brown on the run, lays it in. Mestis going the other way. That ball is blocked away, and the Musketeers grab it. No whistle. Here comes Lumpkin. 3-on-3, and Lumpkin inside to Braggs, and a whistle there. And a foul on Wally Zerbiak.
4 fouls on Zerbiak. Miami's got a number of players in foul trouble. The Musketeers just go up by 21.
There you see Mestis going up.
And Lenny Brown took a hard fall after a great block. It looked like a lot of people thought that might have been offensive goaltending, but the ball never got above the rim.
That is the second block he's gotten of that nature tonight.
You cannot help again to talk about Xavier's quickness and athletic agility.
Torrey Braggs now with 18 points, and from the field he's hit 8 of 13. Very impressive, and a lot of those have been some of those nimble points right around the basket that Gary was talking about.
We mentioned Braggs, James Posey. Those guys are big contributors this year. They take some of the pressure off T.J. Johnson, who's fouled out with 0 points and just 2 rebounds. If that had happened last year, the Musketeers would have been in deep trouble. This year, he's able to do that, and the Musketeers up 21. He's got a lot of big supporting cast, and Skip Prosser's got a lot of bullets in his guns this year.
We mentioned Torrey Braggs playing so well. Let's take a look at him tipping in just moments ago. See that Darnell Williams missed, and with a big hand, the big mitt of Torrey Braggs comes up there. Well, we're talking about how they've grown. I think they've grown more in poise than anything else.
Yes.
A couple of our broadcasts last year, the Ohio University game, and also it was not broadcast, but the Miami game, they just got blown away at the beginning of the second half. You can see now they've developed that poise at the beginning of the second half. They just want to add to leads or just not give anything away.
So much. It's such a transition from high school, John, to be able to play in front of 10,000 people, and the intensity of college basketball much quicker. Everybody's bigger and stronger. These kids have grown over a year. They've gotten bigger and stronger and matured themselves, and it's obviously shown here early in the Musketeer season.
Last 9 minutes or so, 16-7 run for the Musketeers. They're on the offense, 10 seconds on the shot clock. Lumpkin spins around inside, tried to go to Carr, and it glanced off his hands and out of bounds.
Musketeers with 17 turnovers tonight. Had 16 on Tuesday against the Bearcats.
Kenneth Bozeman bringing it down now for the Miami Redskins. Guarded by Sherwin Anderson. Over to Jermaine Henderson. And back to Bozeman. Bozeman hits a long one. That's only a 2. He was close to the line. Must have had a foot on the line.
Lenny Brown back into the ball game after that hard fall. He appears to be okay.
There you see Bozeman hitting one. As Darnell Williams sits down, Lenny Brown's in there with Sherwin Anderson, Gary Lumpkin, Kevin Carr, and James Posey. All have made significant contributions tonight. Outside to Posey. Posey over to Anderson, back to Lenny Brown. Picked up there by Henderson. Musketeers letting that shot clock go down a little bit before they go to work. Posey now tries the right side. Tried to go outside to Lumpkin in the corner, but Henderson knocked it out of bounds. We have a timeout here at the Cincinnati Gardens. 79-60. Xavier with the lead. $19-point bulge for the Xavier Musketeers. 79-60. 3:50 to go. And here from just a few minutes ago, watch Darnell Williams with some good defense. We've seen Lenny Brown do this a couple of times. There he gets Damon Frierson. Then he just takes it away. That's one of the hard things to do, is as you lean back in your
Comfortable chair there. The guy's got a great seat.
And
He's got the back rod to go with it. You saw the pin on the backboard. It's one of the great defensive plays is to be able to keep the ball in bounds after you block it. It's great looking to swat it out of bounds, and the crowd gets fired up. But keep it in play, take it yourself if you can, and start a fast break was even better. Darnell Williams did just that.
3:50 to go. Sherwin Anderson will trigger it in for the Musketeers. Looked underneath, couldn't find Posey. Lumpkin, though, hits a 3 from outside.
It's 4 3-point plays for Lumpkin. 23 points.
82-60 now. The Musketeers widen the gap. Their biggest lead of this night, led by 14 at the half. Henderson operating on Lumpkin on the left wing. Tries inside, back to Bozeman. Bozeman over Anderson, and this one's too hard. Takes a big bounce, and Anderson comes away with it. Anderson ahead to Lenny Brown. Back to Sherwin, and Charlie Cole's getting ready to clear some people off his bench and give him a chance to play with his team down by 22. Here's the pass into Posey. One fake goes up, won't go, and the Redskins grab it. Under 3 minutes now. The Musketeers look very impressive for the third time this season. Newble turns around from the baseline and scores for the Redskins.
I think it's a real credit to the Xavier coaching staff that they did not allow a letdown. Very easy, big, emotional, physical game on Tuesday to come back against a real good opponent in the Miami Redskins. They were picked in the top 25 by a lot of basketball times, had them 24th this year, and they're going to vie for the MAC championship. The Musketeers doing a job today.
Brown, nice pass inside to Posey, and he lays it in.
Absolutely beautiful pass to set that up.
James Posey with 16 points, and the Musketeers steal another one. We near the 2-minute mark of this ball game, and the Musketeers again up by 22 points.
Musketeers with 13 steals, caused 27 turnovers.
Anderson inside to Posey. Posey off the glass, can't get it. But Braggs comes back, and as he goes up, he gets fouled. Three new Redskins head into the game. Andy Plum out of Mason. Chad Allen out of Leavittsburg, and Nate Schindewolf out of Akron, Ohio. Went to Manchester as the Musketeers also clear out. Kenny Harvey comes in, so does Pat Kelsey. That means Gary Lumpkin leaves, so does Lenny Brown, and they have to feel good about their first 3 efforts. Sherwin Anderson also sits down.
John, you see Torrey Braggs at the line, had a great junior college career. One of the first things that Coach Prosser asks his assistants as they go out and recruit is how tough is the kid. And I can assure you that Torrey Braggs is one of the type guys that Skip Prosser wants. He is one tough guy. He's the kind of guy, the enforcer type player that's not going to back off of anybody, even in heated environments, even on the road. Lenny Brown is like that too. Coach Prosser calls them warriors. He wants to recruit warriors.
Bragg shooting as Nate Turner, the freshman out of Middletown, has also come into the game. So has Leo Murray out of Tampa. He's a sophomore.
Nate Turner's a kid that's going to see a lot of playing time this year out of Middletown. Had a little bit of a problem, 2.5 weeks out with a fractured elbow, but he's back full time, and they really like his skills.
Bragg sits down, and in comes Terrence Payne. Seeing his first action of the night, his Musketeers lead is 24 with 1:35 to go in this ball game. This is Schindewolf missing, and Nate Turner comes down with the rebound. There's Turner to Leo Murray. Murray trying to turn on Schindewolf, and he misses, but a foul is called, and Leo will go to the line.
Talked many times, your second team is very important. The Musketeers are deep this year. What that allows you to do is get better every day in practice, because your first team is going to play against people that are better. If your second team is not very good, it's impossible for you to get better as the season progresses. And this year, I can guarantee you the Musketeers are going to be pushed. Their first team will be pushed by that second team.
Leo Murray shooting as Kyle Johnson out of Talawanda comes into the ball game for the Redskins. It's the second, 88-62. A reminder that Notre Dame against USC coming up just a couple of minutes from now on ABC 9. Anthony Taylor flips back to Plum. Plum hits! Andy Plum out of Mason, Ohio, transferred to Miami from the Citadel. Good-looking shooter. 6'1" senior. As Pat Kelsey looks for a man to throw to, finds Kenny Harvey. We're under a minute here at the Gardens. Harvey hands off to Kelsey, to Payne. Payne, he's going to try from outside. Ooh, rims around and out. Schindewolf comes up for Miami. To Plum. Plum over to Taylor. Taylor back to Schindewolf. And he hits. And he's known as an awfully good shooter. Averaged some big numbers up in Akron. It's the lead back down to 20. Kelsey thinks about it, goes inside, dishes off to Murray. Murray to Turner. Turner one dribble. Nate Turner from Monroe, Ohio, transferred to Middletown late in his high school career. And the Musketeers plucked him out of there. And the ballots have been cast in our Budweiser star of the game for tonight, Gary Lumpkin. There you see the numbers. Wasn't that hard a choice. 23 points, 5 assists. And whoa, he hit from the field 9 of 12, Gary.
A lot of those from long range, 4 3-pointers. And John, the other thing about Lumpkin is he's a catalyst on defense. He caused a lot of those turnovers, a lot of the 27 turnovers that the Redskins had. Lumpkin doing a great job on both ends of the floor.
4 of 6 from 3-point range for Gary Lumpkin as well, as the Musketeers lead is 20. And they'll try to inbound it. Kelsey into Murray. Murray over to Harvey. 88-68. Bounces it to Kelsey. To Harvey in the corner. Boom! "12 seconds to go. Schindewolf tries again and hits his second three. Nate Schindewolf comes in and makes a big impression with a couple of long rangers. 8.6 seconds to go, and Charlie Coles, after that impressive win, knows he has some fixing up to do before Dayton comes into Millett Hall on Wednesday night. And Dee talked earlier about that mythical Miami Valley Conference. Well, the Musketeers go 2-0 in that.
Saw a shot of Skip Prosser. I mentioned before about his demeanor after the Xavier UC game. Just walked off like he had been there before. Reminds me a lot of Gary Barnett at Northwestern. Same kind of demeanor, under control. His team's that way, comes off that way. He mentioned in the paper that he kind of walked off the court and let the players savor the moment. You love to see a coach that's more interested in his players getting the accolades than the coach taking all the headlines. So one of the reasons the fans like him so much here.
Schindewolf outside, and it won't count.